Hello and welcome to the Tigre.pup channel. If you would like to hear my experience with male clients, then please keep watching. In this video, I'll be talking about my experiences with male clients. When I first began my career as a hairstylist, I found it very difficult with male clients. I'm thinking probably it's because they assumed because I was a male, I automatically should know how to do their hair. But to be honest with you, this is not something that we learned in beauty college. Most of the curriculum in beauty college was geared towards women's hair and things of that nature. Plus, the most obvious is successfully completing our education, because they have the schools have a ranking system, and the more people that graduate, the higher their graduation success rate is, and the more prestigious the school is. So basically we would do the same things over and over again. Like we would have to do roller sets, hot iron curling, and things of that nature. And we only briefly covered barbering or things of that nature, where we would use clippers and whatnot. And it was a very difficult task with trying to grasp the concepts that were necessary in order to make a very well blended haircut for particularly short hair. I can remember a time when I was working at, I won't say the name of the salon, but it's a commercial salon, and if I told you the name, you'd probably understand or know exactly what I was talking about. But I had so many problems with the male clientele that I actually went to the manager and I asked her, I says, I didn't feel comfortable doing male clients anymore because the issue was so bad. And she basically, told me to just continue doing it. She really just didn't care. And it was after this particular incident that I'm going to be telling you about that caused me to honestly want to quit doing hairstyling altogether. Now, don't get me wrong. I don't mean to say that I would have stopped practicing on my mannequins and whatnot. I just had gotten to the point where I didn't want to do it as a job anymore. I had gotten to that point. That's how serious the situation was. So I'm going to go ahead and tell you what situation that brought me over the edge and had me convinced that I didn't want to be a hairstylist anymore. Okay, so to be honest with you, there were a couple of instances. The one that was most memorable was a time when I had to work the night shift, which I'm a night person. I like to stay up late at night and wake up, late during the day. Well, this guy comes in, the client, and he has a gang of friends with him. You know how most people get real boisterous when they're surrounded by their friends or whatever. I believe that was the case in this instance, because he says he wanted to come and get his hair cut or whatever. And at that time, I would tell people my level of skill. I told him I wasn't very confident in doing the male's haircut. And I just wanted him to let him know and give him the decision to turn around now, or if he did get the haircut, he'd have to pay for it and everything. So he agreed. He said that he was willing to do that, knowing that I wasn't very skilled in this particular service. So I go ahead and I get started on his hair. He's laughing and joking with his friends and everything, and I'm kind of just getting in and doing my job. I did my very best, as best as I could do, just recently graduating out of cosmetology school. And you know, I'm trying to blend his haircut. I'm using my comb and my scissors and trying to get in there and make sure that there's no barcode lines in his hair and everything. So when I says I'm finished, you know, after I've shampooed, conditioned his hair and everything and blown it out and put styling product and everything in it, and I thought I did a pretty good job, but apparently he didn't think so. So he was like he wasn't going to pay. And at that point, I got upset because I says, you know, I told you before you sat in my chair, I said I wasn't very skilled in that, and you decided that you wanted to continue anyway. Now, I was taking time to, first of all, I actually washed your hair and conditioned your hair and cut your hair and blew your hair out and everything and styled it up and everything. And you mean to tell me you're going to just walk out of here like that? And he was like, yeah. Well, that wasn't our exact conversation, but that's the point of view that I had at the time. Well, I go to the register and I tell him like this. I says, if you walk out of that door, I'm going to scream bloody murder that you're a thief if you decide you're not going to pay, because that's exactly what you're doing. You're stealing. I worked on your hair for this amount of time. I told you everything before you got in my chair, you know, my level of skill and how I didn't feel comfortable doing it. And you agreed. And now you want to turn around and say that you're not going to pay. There's a 1-800 number on the wall. If you have any comments, complaints, or whatnot, you go and speak with them. But right now, you need to pay. And also, I had another issue. I think this was like on a Saturday because it was very busy that day. And my name had came up to do the next client, which happened to be a guy from the military. Well, we got to talking and everything. He says that the reason why he didn't get his hair cut at the, I guess they would call it a barracks or whatever, it was because they clippers was hurting his head or whatever and cutting his scalp and making his scalp bleed. So he would rather go to this commercial salon to get his hair cut. I says, it's no problem. I says, I'm not very skilled at doing, I guess they would call it a bald fade, where it's like no hair on the sides and the back and then like all the hair on the top. And I was being very honest with him and letting him know. Well, the first thing he does is he starts shouting at me. And he's like, what exactly did he say? Okay, honestly, I forget what he said, but I remember my response. And I was shouting too. And I don't know if you notice, I have a very light voice and people have difficulty hearing what I'm saying. And I'm shouting, I says, because they didn't train us. You know, it's not that I didn't want to do it. I actually did. I actually enjoy doing all aspects of doing hair and hairstyling and whatnot. But I just wasn't skilled in that area. I didn't feel comfortable doing it. And I was letting him know what was the reason, whatever. And he just blew up on me. Well, eventually I got that was pretty much the breaking point, which made me go to management and tell them of the situation and why I was concerned. And there was no offer into helping me. They had videos and whatnot, but I actually needed hands-on training as to how to do what they would call clipper cuts. Okay, so eventually got to the point where when she had told me that, I actually walked off on the job. I know that's probably not a good idea to do. And I'm just being honest with you because, like I said, I felt like I was in a very hostile situation because I need my job for number one. But to keep my job, you know, I'd have to get in these arguments with these guys because I wasn't very trained on doing, like, you know, the proper haircut and blending and whatnot. And management was making they weren't trying to correct the situation, basically. So, and I certainly wasn't making enough money to go get training anywhere else. And I didn't even know where I could go and get training. So I ended up quitting that job. And after a time, I actually found another job. And the great thing about finding, I mean, I did step out of the field for a while, and then I ended up coming back under a certain particular set of circumstances that made me come back. But that's beside the point. When I did go back, there was a group of stylists that I had to work with. I was working with. And I guess they got frustrated with me turning away male clients. And one of the people, her name was Leslie, and she showed me how to do a men's haircut. Very easy haircut, and I think I'm going to do a video on that so I can show you exactly what she taught me. And ever since then, I was just whipping out the men's haircut. It was no big deal. You basically just ask them what clipper guard they want on the sides and the back, and you go straight up. And once you go straight up, it blends it automatically, and you just take the top and blend it, comb it, to either every 360 directions all the way around in order to make the overlap, like if you want it blended, because they have disconnected haircuts, but you wanted it blended, and you would just do like that and take the trimmers and line around the ears and the back of the head and along the forehead and everything. And when I tell you, I didn't get like like anxious when it came time to do men's haircut, or sweaty palms, or feeling of dread, or feeling I'm going to have to argue with anyone anymore. And I guess I would give a special thanks to Leslie, because without her, I would have never learned how to do men's haircuts. And that's one aspect of hairstyling that I could actually now make a profit off of, because instead of me turning them away, I can actually take them and I can actually do a very good job that they're satisfied, and they may or may not tip me. So that's my story. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.